Welcome to today's video, and today I am continuing my lifetime transformation series. This is chapter number 3. This is a practical series where I am talking about my journey of lifting, how I build up my physique over the years, and I'm giving practical examples so maybe you can relate to my story and learn from the mistakes that I did. If you are new to the series, I recommend you to check here the card above so you can start from chapter number 1. So chapter number 3 will cover the year from 2010 to 2012, and I was from 19 to 21 years old. So this is the starting physique just before attending university. So chapter number 3 will cover mainly the first 2 terms of university, so the first 2 years. And as you see, it's a decent physique. It's on the lean side, I have some muscle, the head is completely shaved off. So I was looking forward to starting attending university. I did move to the capital of Lithuania, Vilnius, and I will be living for the first time completely alone in an apartment. So I had good relatives and they provided me for the first year for just a symbolic price of a new apartment. So I had a good head start. I could say it was a very good apartment, pretty modern. So for a student, it was really a very good start in university. So previously, when I was living at my parents' home, I did have a garage home gym, and now when living in an apartment, I didn't have the luxury of having a home gym anymore. So over the next 2 years, I didn't have a home gym. So mainly I was either training in the wall ball team gym or in the local commercial gym. So I would buy a membership here and there when I had the money and time available. So first of all, I did join the university volleyball team because I was still passionate about volleyball and I wanted to continue playing it. And the first thing that I did find out, I was an underdog in the team. I was expecting I would be one of the better players, but the team was very competitive, and I was 1 meter and 88 centimeters in height, so relatively tall compared to the general population. But other guys were like 1 meter 90, even 2 meters. So they were more or less the main guys, way taller than me. So I was once again an underdog here and I had to climb my way back up. And it was a semi-professional volleyball team, so I did gain financial benefits from being in the team. Each semester I had to pay for my studies, so the price was reduced in half because I was in the volleyball team. And when training in the summers, when we didn't have to study, we did get paid there a little bit of money. So it was on a serious level and we did train from 5 to 6 times in a given week, so it was a lot. And regarding studying, I was in a good physical shape, so I was not the smallest guy anymore. I was one of the bigger guys and I was with the head shaved off and no one would mess with me, so I didn't have any problems there. So after the first semester, I did take this photo right here in the apartment that I was living in. I don't have many photos from this apartment, but this is one of them. And as you can see, I did bulk up a little bit here, and this is when I would face my first setback. So I was playing basketball in my hometown where my parents did live, and I did jump to block another guy from shooting, and when landing I did land on his feet, so I did sprain my ankle there. And it was a serious injury considering I was playing volleyball, and it was a pity that I was playing basketball and suffered this injury. So I did drive by myself with the sprained ankle to the hospital. So my left ankle was sprained. I had to press on the clutch. So yeah, it was excruciating pain. They did a scan there and they did diagnose a partial tear of all the ligaments. So I didn't have to get any surgery, but over the next few days it would completely be swollen and I had to be on crutches for about a month, and after that I would slowly recover. So here are 2 pictures after I did recover. Here are my last 2 pictures in the apartment. So in the one you can see that restroom is newly decorated. You can see the door here, the floor is wooden, so it was a very nice apartment. And when suffering from the ankle sprain, I did have more time on my hands, so I did research in the thing that I was interested in. It was, of course, building muscle. And at that time I decided to bring back a pair of dumbbells from my parents' home to the small apartment where I was living in. So I had a set of dumbbells, and this is the time where I stumbled upon two fitness influencers, you could say. At that time I still didn't watch any YouTube videos, but I did find Scooby 1961. So he had a website called Scooby's Workshop, and in my opinion Scooby was way ahead of his time. So he did talk about home workouts and about building muscle, losing fat and being healthy. So I remember I started doing a superset with my dumbbells there at home with the sprained ankle. So I did a superset of biceps and triceps, and I did get a massive pump there in my arms, and for a couple of days I did get DOMS. So this was the first sign when I'm looking back at my life where I did discover hypertrophy training. So already then it was well known that you can do, for example, here a superset for your arms and you can have an arm day. So nobody was talking about this thing. And person number two was Sean Nalavani. So I did find a book of his. It was called The Truth About Building Muscle. So Sean now has a YouTube channel with lots of followers, but at that time I think he didn't have a YouTube channel, or I didn't know about it. But I did read his book, and the takeaway message from the book was you have to train to muscular failure. And this was my agenda. When I was, for example, training in the commercial gyms, when I had the time, I was pushing everything to complete muscular failure. So Sean was also way ahead of his time, because he was already saying you have to push everything to failure. But you can only understand these things looking back in time. So that's why I did want to mention Sean and Scooby, because they had a very good influence on me at that time, and they were way ahead of their times. Now here are some more updates from my physique. So this is where I did recover already from the ankle sprain fully. I was back in wall ball. This was at my parents' home. It was in the year 2011, then I was 19 years old. And as you can see from the physique, I didn't get any bigger for sure compared to my previous chapter final physique. So more or less I did maintain the size. Maybe I did lose some size here and there, but this was the physique, how I was looking like when the first year of university was coming to an end. And now I want to talk about the final form that I did manage to achieve. So this is in the second term of university when I was 20 years old. So this was at my peak. So I was 1 meter 88 centimeters and 81 kilograms of weight. This is the physique that I did manage to achieve. So as you can see, very lean, decent muscle size and an athletic build. So this was at the very peak of my wall ball days. If you are interested in vertical jump training, the programs that I did at that time, I will place here a card above so you can check it out in more detail. But yeah, this was the peak that I did manage to achieve. And on the outside, the physique looks great, everything should be great, but on the inside I was a total wreck, a total disaster. So what did happen is wall ball did completely take over my life. I was training 5 to 6 times a week, and if you would miss a training session, the trainer would text you a question mark, where are you? So he was controlling, being way too involved in each of our personal lives, and it was not good for the mental health, knowing that if you would skip a practice day, you would already receive there a message. So it was total control there. So at that time I was completely burnt out, mentally and also physically. I did develop jumper's knee, so I had excruciating pain from all the wall ball, from all the vertical jump training. So when I was attending the sessions, I almost wanted to cry from the pain. That's how bad was it. And it was just too much. My body couldn't handle it anymore. And all the factors combined, mentally, physically, I thought to myself, I cannot do this anymore. It doesn't make any sense. I did think about my future. I don't see any prosperities in being a professional volleyball player because the country and also the volleyball is too small of a niche, you could say. In Lithuania, for example, you can make a living playing basketball, but volleyball is such a small part compared to basketball, so you don't have any chances to make a living there, only if you are exceptional. But like I did say, the other guys were like more or less 2 meters, so they were having this much of an advantage over me, and it was tough. So I made the hard decision to quit my university team in mid of the second term, and then I would hit rock bottom. So this is the physique after quitting the team for a couple of months, and as you can see, I did lose all my gains that I had. So here I was weighing 87 kilograms, so I did gain 6 kilograms of body fat. Also I did lose some muscle, so even more body fat was gained, and I was at rock bottom. I was stuffing myself with junk food day in, day out. I was participating heavy in the nightclub scene, so you had their binge drinking all the time, smoking cigarettes, and I was on a down slope. So I was regressing and I was in a very deep slump. So inside I was just a total wreck, overtrained, burned out, recovering from the jumper's knee, and things were not looking great. Basically I lost everything here. Then one time when I was visiting my parents, I had to help them a little bit with moving furniture. So in the backyard I did bend over with a twisting motion. I picked there, I think, some heavy couch or something like that, and I snapped there my lower back. So this was the first time with my lower back injury history. So this was the very first time that I did snap my lower back. So I was already feeling down, and then another injury and completely knocked to the floor once again. So the rest of the year of the second term of university was spending getting myself back together, healing the physical injuries, the mental hurdles, and it was a very slow process, bit by bit, losing the excess body fat that I have accumulated, getting back into some light training, but I was not training seriously there. I didn't have a home gym, only the pair of dumbbells that I did lift from time to time. Sometimes I did go to the commercial gym, but I didn't push there to make progress in muscle size or strength. I was focused on getting back my health. So at the end of the year, when I was approaching into my third term, I got everything under control. So here are two pictures, one from the front, one from the back. And as you can see, I did lose the excessive body fat that I have accumulated. By no means I was obese or anything like that. It was just excessive body fat. And here I have returned to a lean condition. I did build up some muscle size, and this was the physique going into the third and fourth term, my final 2 years in university. So I was no more in this semi-professional volleyball team. I did quit it, but I would continue playing volleyball for the next 2 years as an amateur in a local, very small team, and I had there a lot of good memories and I enjoyed playing there. So I did recover from the jumper's knee, did also recover from snapping up my lower back, and I was good to go on my journey onwards. And also finally I did manage to quit the alcohol, quit the binge drinking, and quit the smoking. So I was finally on a good path, also health-wise, also mentally, and also physically. So to summarize the first 2 years in university, year number 1 I was living in a new apartment, and year number 2 I was moving to another apartment where it didn't look that great compared to the first one. So if you did see here some pictures, you will see more in the future. It did look kind of rough. So I had a very good student life. I was good at studying there, having the social life. But the thing that did drag me down or take over my life was this wall semi-professionally. It was just way too much and it did take over, and I did peak there. I did compete as best as I could with the other guys because I was very competitive. I did max out my vertical jump as best as I could, but then I did hit rock bottom because I couldn't keep up with the physical demands, and also it messed with me mentally. Later, I would find out that the team got worse and worse every year. So for example, in the third and fourth year of the university, it got down the level of the team very fast, and the trainer was writing me if I would return to the team, but I didn't have any interest anymore. And this was one of my best decisions in life, quitting this semi-professional team, because it would open me a lot of other doors and opportunities in the future. But I was pretty unfortunate that I was placed in this very competitive team and environment, and this basically was the peak level of volleyball in my country. And after that, when I am observing things are declining bit by bit. So if I would be in the team like a couple years later, then I would be one of the top guys. But here you have 6 players that are playing all the time. Then you have player number 7 and 8, which is in reserve. They are switched quite a lot. So I was more or less in the spot number 9, sometimes in spot number 8. So I was very close to being switched out regularly, but still I was pretty far away. So that's the reality. Other than that, it was a tough time for sure, living alone, to deal with all these struggles. But that's life, that's how we move on, that's how we move forward. You have to keep pushing forward no matter what. So I think this sums up chapter number 3 pretty well. Here I will link a playlist if you want to watch all the transformation series in order, and I will see you soon next time. Bye.